Page 215. The didactic and research activity of the course of architectural photogrammetry is articulated according to two fundamental guidelines. Establishment of a photogrammetric documentation center. Direct use of photogrammetry in architectural and urban planning. Exhibitions, conferences and seminars have been organized on these topics since the start of the course. Research financed by the National Research Council was carried out and, in particular, a degree thesis on design with reverse photogrammetry was carried out. The results have allowed the drafting of a project that foresees the collection of the frames, relating to all the surveys carried out in the region, in a center which, for the wealth of information it can acquire, can be called image bank. The purpose of the center is to allow anyone, through stereometric frames, knowledge of the regional territory and to follow its transformations. With regard to data acquisition, the operating methodology has been widely verified in both normal and emergency conditions. The staff training problem has proven to be non-existent, above all because of the interest that technology arouses in those who approach it. On the occasion of the Puglia region's project for the census of the Trulli of the Val d'Itria, a photogrammetric unit was organized with a group of 6 young people from the ex-Law 285, who successfully operated on a sample area. The Trulli they have been identified on aerial frames and detected from the ground with the stereometric chamber. In the days immediately following the earthquake of 23 November 1980, the photogrammetric unit of the Bari Traffic Police carried out numerous surveys, in Basilicata, of monuments seriously damaged by the earthquake, operating with prohibitive weather conditions and despite the danger of the environments detected. Caption: Building the future by analyzing the past seems the most appropriate caption for this image. The designer works in the shadow of the photogrammetric restituta from whom he is continually updated on the consequences of the environmental transformations he is about to carry out. Modern technology allows you to plan interventions on the environment with a method similar to that followed by our ancestors, who have been able to exploit, wisely, the experience gained by humanity over the centuries. Page 216. The image bank proposed for monuments, since 1970, by the CIPA, Comité International de Photogrammetrie Architecturale, could also include documentation relating to any intervention on the environment. From archaeological excavations, to restoration interventions and, in generally, to the documentation of everything that risks disappearing due to progress. Up to the documentation of the works in public works, the medical findings and road accidents that, on the whole, would document man's way of life. Equipped with a sector for photogrammetric restitution, it would allow the economic use of finalized refunds, which can be memorized for free through video terminals, in connection with other similar national or foreign centers. It would ensure cultural exchanges in real time. In the not too distant future, when in Italy we will be able to call the good calculator, we will allow ourselves to be sent the desired information to our home on the screen of our television, offering, with our requests, a contribution to increase the capital of our image bank. Caption: The project for the census and catalogue of the Trulli of the Val d'Itria using photogrammetric techniques. Drawn up in 1980 by 6 young people of the ex-Law 285 belonging to the Trulli project of the Puglia region. Provided for the analysis of aerial frames stereometric both with the use of stereovisors and through photoplanes. On the left, the Wild Apt 1, complete with camera, is used both to analyze the territory and to photogrammetry the Trulli surveyed. Page 217. Checking the status of the places, with the Wild TSP1 countryside stereoscope. It is no wonder that, from the moment the aerial survey was carried out to the moment of the inspection, the environmental framework has changed so much as to pose identification problems. The survey of a Trullo and a large surrounding area, performed by 4 shots with the Wild C120 stereometric chamber, required an average time of no more than an hour and a half. The mobile recovery unit, in the optimal case, has 3 operators, 2 of whom are employed in the use of the equipment and the third for recording the recovery data. Page 218. The survey includes 2 recovery sheets, one to be completed in the countryside and the other after the development of frames, for cataloging them. From these cards it is possible to obtain the data necessary to insert the frames in the restituta. The Wild A40 autograph used for the return. For this phase, the project involved self-service. The user could choose the frames from the catalog, analyze them with the stereoscope and request their insertion in the restituta. Then providing the automatic translation of the information from the photographic language to the graphic language. Page 219. In the event of rejection, the user could communicate to the operator all the information to be translated by graphing one of the frames of the stereometric pair, suitably enlarged on sensitive paper, with opaque or transparent support. The methodology identified on the occasion of the Trolley project obviously can be extended to the census and cataloging of all the cultural heritage, scattered or concentrated on the territory. In the photographic image, shown here, a moment of a similar experience lived for census and cataloging of farms. Page 220. By means of inverse photogrammetry, you can use the stereoscopic model for design interventions and visualize its idea, no longer through representations. Graphics strictly technical and schematic, but with 3-dimensional metric images, understandable even by those who, today, are excluded from the design phase. Although they must make a fundamental contribution. Page 221. Bibliography. Illustrations and captions of the pages and sources.